Alright, before we get started in the video, I think it's important to show the contrast of what's happened to this vehicle. This thing went from not starting to like just barely running and sounding pretty much like garbage. And today we're going to add an ignition box, different carburetor, and a distributor, plus a coil, and this is what you're going to get, the before and after. Let's look at that one more time, the before and after. Alright, DIY car guys and car girls. So we're wiring in a Summit ignition box. We're going to put in a new distributor, a better distributor than this HEI stuff. We've already got the coil mounted right here. We've already got most of the wires ran. We got the ground and we have the power wire for the Summit ignition box. Right now what I'm doing is I'm going to find 30 degrees top dead center. I got some timing tape. Let me show you what's going on down here. So I got my, of course, we got my little bump remote starter switch right there, and I've already marked out. I'm gonna get some. See, this is top dead center. This is 36 degrees. Whoever put this in here for 36 degrees, that's like 50 freaking degrees. I'm not sure what that marker's there for, but I use timing tape to find that. This actually right here is 36 degrees, so I need to go get my little paint marker and put that right there. I'm not too concerned about if it's that much off or whatever, but this is way off. We don't want to have the motor pinging. So whenever we do get this thing running, we can just do a read in the plugs to see exactly where it wants its timing. So let me go ahead and mark this and we will continue. So I got my paint pen, but I want to show you guys this. Well, I showed you guys that, but one thing I noticed about this entire setup is they had all the motor grounds, except for this one ground right here that goes to the back of the head, to the actual cab right here. They had everything grounded to this alternator bracket right here. Oh no, 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 no. I didn't really like that, so what I did was move the ground. So they had the battery grounded up here. So what I did is move the ground to the actual frame, and then we use RTV to go over everything to keep it out the elements. That way it doesn't rust and you don't lose connectivity right there or it starts to get poor. Because one thing about these ignition boxes, the quickest way to jack them up is to have a crappy ground, and that's usually what kills those, and that's usually what has problems in motors, is the crappy ground. So you have to have a good ground. I know this to be true on stuff that I've done. So let's go ahead and mark our 36 degrees on the harmonic balancer. Alright, so we're going to mark it right here. And there we have it. That's 36 degrees before top dead center. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that right there. But on these old school joints right there, oh, come on, get a focus. On these old school joints right there, usually you'll see that's 6 teeth. On 6 teeth, it's usually the second one, which is indicated at 0. On that guy right there. So what I do is I usually just mark it, and then when I put the light on there, that'll, because I don't have an adjustable timing light, I don't really trust those sometimes. They don't really always work out. So having a non-adjustable one and just looking at your marks on there is definitely the best way to get a good reading on your timing. I had to go ahead and put up the easy out to block that sun, but we now have it on the compression stroke. What I did, I put my finger right here and then bumped it over, and then I made sure down there, let me get a light on this guy. So if you look down there, we now have it at 36 degrees before top dead center. We're gonna leave it right there because we have to now pull out the old distributor and install the new distributor. All right, so this is where we're at. I went ahead and fast forward a little bit. Of course, I still gotta clean all these wires up. We'll worry about that once we get it started. I don't like to button up wires, any of that, until I get it started, make sure everything's good. We got the carburetor on here. We put a 1-inch spacer. If not, then this little fuel log or fuel lines right here from the carburetor would be too far down to be hitting this guy right here. So we had to take that guy up regardless. And the fuel line right here coming in from the pump had to cut the hard line and move this guy down, or else there was just kind of doing a fish right here and it was all kinked. So we had to go and do that. That was definitely a pain in the butt. Didn't expect to do that, but had to do it anyways. But the good news is the distributor dropped bloop right up in that mofo. I just gotta clamp it down next, and we'll set the timer once we get it started. And on this side, of course, we have it at top dead center. We'll go through the wires, and the wires, I do have new wires, but I cannot find my crimping tool for the wires, which you definitely need a good crimping tool for the wires. Do not try to do it without a crimping tool, because it's just stupid. But we're going to use these guys just to get it started, and then I'm going to go ahead and clean these guys up, and then we'll continue. So stay tuned for that. I went ahead and just go ahead and buttoned it all up. Like I said, I still need to get new wires, because I can't find my tool. But I have wires, but I can't find my tool to install them on this truck today for the client. But she started up with no fuss. He's still going to need a different adapter for the kickdown cable on his TH350 for this guy right here. The one that came out Edelbrock when that worked with this Holley carburetor. But I'll go ahead and start her up, and you guys can see the throttle response for this is pretty darn good. So let me go ahead and go over here real quick. Little starter. Starts right up, no fuss. These are heavier. This little spring's a little loose. Need a heavier one. But anyways. See, it says pretty darn snappy throttle response. That Summit box is doing its job. That new coil is doing its job. Well, there you have it. She's making progress. Like I tell everyone, don't get too wrapped up in the big picture. Just tackle one thing at a time. Like for this one, it needed a little better carburetor. You needed a new ignition system. What he had on there was okay, but it's just, there's just way better options than that old HEI crap. As you can see, there's the old carburetor and distributor. But yeah, making progress. Still needs a couple odds and ends, but we're getting there. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.